CNO made official that he has selected Russell Smith as our new number 15, MCPON number 15. And so across the Navy, as we have been standing by with great anticipation, he selected a friend of mine from Abraham Lincoln. So back in 1993, WT2 Smith and DP2 Kemp were in the same division together.
Do you have any funny stories that he might be embarrassed?
Only told as we look in the bottom of red Solo cups in the backyard. No, consummate gentleman. One of those folks, very different career than mine. He was IS, and he went that pathway. Very upstanding career, honorable guy. And so it's good to know the selection from MCPON. It's also good to know that he chose the right person. A number of us interviewed, three of us, the three fleets at least, interviewed. And as I walked out of the CNO's out of the interview, I said to him, I said, you know, we had dinner last night, and it really doesn't matter who you pick because we win. We win. We all know each other. We have a high level of communication and have had for just about a year since Jim Honey got there. And so it's been good. It's been really good. So I'm excited.
I'm excited. I mean, and especially since y'all have that little back history. I mean, I think that's so awesome to see where the rise, man.
Check.
Yeah, that's crazy. Same division as E5s, all the way up to that's fleets. That's.
It was it was funny. You know, you serve with someone, you serve with folks, and in those days, way before the internet and email, and certainly before social media. But we were still, you know, in the Navy when we lock in. We talked about this last week. You go to a division, you meet some people. You go through something that's very difficult, and you develop relationships, and those relationships can be lasting. But the neat thing about us as brothers and sisters in arms is that, or in the armed forces, is that even if you don't see someone for a while, when you reconnect, it's like you just hadn't been apart. So it was probably 10, maybe even 15 years since I had seen him, and then we reconnected in this age of technology and social media, and it was as if we were still in the same, you know, division. So I encourage everyone, especially those of us who are serving in shore duty or sea, civilians or military members. Those relationships are important. So you treat people with dignity and respect, and then the next thing you know, you'll have an opportunity to reconnect or give some support someplace. You know, it's the season right now, the initiation. One of the things that we talked to the chief's mess about is the importance of those relationships. And when a chief speaks or meets with another chief, it is an automatic yes. I'm going to start with yes, no, as long as the question is, you know, ethical, moral, and not illegal. I'm going to start with yes and then fight to stay on that. And I think that is something that we naturally develop. Certainly, like at your rank, as a second class petty officer, you're beginning to understand the value now of other second classes around, because they have a sphere of influence that's just real and palatable, and they are the experts, and they are the consummate professionals within their sphere of influence. And so you see now how important it is to know other second classes. Well, that continues throughout your career, and I have the honor, you know, to know personally, you know, the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy. So it's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. Real quick, I know weeks ago, we talked about how our second fleet was being reestablished and everything. Right. So you just told me that the
second fleet is here.
Yeah.
Admiral Lewis and his command senior enlisted leader is a gentleman by the name of Bill Smaltz. I've known Bill. We were carrier CMCs together. Strong leader, great reputation. Probably the exact right person to be the command senior enlisted leader at Second Fleet. They both came into town. And the thing about establishing or commissioning a command, especially one that we have had in the past, is doing it right. Now, we might have the propensity to look in the rearview mirror and say, yeah, when we had Second Fleet, they were responsible for, you know, A, B, C, elemental B. But now, I mean, the climate is shockingly different, you know, than it was in days gone by. So whomever the last Second Fleet Admiral was the last Second Fleet Command Master Chief. They had their, experience, some, 10, 12 years ago, but it's just different now. The threat is different now. Our posture across the nation is different now. Our budget is different now, thankfully. And so the climate is different. So it's important that we establish it right for today. Now, of course, if you don't know your history, of course, you're likely to repeat it. So there's some study that has to be done. But they are seeking to establish what they are calling what is the Second Fleet. Their motto is, ready to fight. It's funny, we're the fighting fleet, but ready to fight as they man, train, equip, and prepare, rehearse, and prepare for any dangers that may come our way. And so the guardians of the Eastern Seaboard they are, as well as those who will reach across and lend a hand in the event that Sixth Fleet and Naval Forces Europe, Naval Forces Africa need some support. So it's exciting to have them here. I have had conversations with Admiral Lewis. As I said, I know Bill Swanson, so to have him here is an honor. And to start going into the details and planning of, okay, here's what we're going to do going forward is a fulfilling opportunity to stand and do this job. Somebody asked me last night, or not last night, yesterday afternoon, man, are you sad that you didn't, get selected for MCPON or whatever? Like, let's just kind of lean back and take a look at this. So I joined the Navy with hopes to make an E5 so I could retire at 20 and then go back home and, sit on the front porch and, do what I got away for doing for coming in the Navy. And then, things worked out and, I'm sitting out here with you. We live in Naples, man. We've got Second Fleet here. Oh my gosh, Second Fleet here to talk about, visioneering and how do we do things right. We are buffeting, the enemy and those who would seek to do something different with the world. I was like, I just can't be, sad or disappointed. I have to truly celebrate, not just because it's my friend, but because we are intentionally going forward, prepared and fit to fight, and to continue to be the Navy our nation needs. And so, I'm celebrating. And the opportunity to have Second Fleet here just kind of caps that off because it's super important work. Admiral Franchetti, Admiral Fogo, Admiral Lewis, and the team of us who support the three of them, because very frankly, they are the commanders of their areas. To the team of us that support them, it's an honor to be here. We're doing great work. Well, we are at a point right now where it's just logical to use technology to the maximum extent, the maximum logical extent. So there is technology out there that just because we have it doesn't mean we should use it. But then there's other technology out there that we see as a known good that we should use and that is logical to use. For example, we talked, I can't remember if it was last week or a couple weeks ago. I was telling you in days gone by, DP3, DPSA, Kemp was told, hey, bring us your bank information because we need you to sign up for, I think it's called DTS at the time, Direct Deposit System. And I was like, no, thank you. I will take my money in cash on the mess decks because that's how we used to get paid. And, well, look at where we are right now. So,
right, everything's all electronic.
Right.
Yeah, that was last week, and we were talking about the PSD changes, like the closures.
Right. And so in support of that, so if in fact we are going to, and we are, by the way, we're going to shut down the PSDs, the personnel support detachments, around the Navy. We'll keep a couple of major areas open. So, fleet concentration areas like San Diego and Norfolk. Certainly there'll be one overseas. We'll keep those open, but the rest of them, be shutting down and downsizing. And if you, I use Navy Federal and USAA, and I can get on my phone, go into an app, and handle pretty much everything. We can go online now. In days gone by, we weren't able to just go in and make changes, for example, to our allotments, that we have going to various different organizations. You weren't able to do that online. You had to go to dispersing. Dispersing would then take that information to PSD.
Right. It was a process, a step-by-step, kind of a headache sometimes process.
Sure, sometimes, yeah.
But you're right. We have gone into a more click online, and there's the change, and you get a notification, hey, you made this change via email. Exactly. So it's super easy.
It is. And so we are considering the needs of sailors and their families now in a different way than we have in the past. And this is just a perfect example of that. So it's the 24th of September. They'll roll out the 24/7 My Navy Career Center, Contact Center online. And then we will have those services, right at our fingertips. So I'm excited to see the change. Very different than days gone by. I just mentioned, but I'm excited to see the changes and get the feedback. One thing that we do just shockingly different than we did in those days, and very frankly, shockingly different than we did 5 years ago.
Right.
Is we accept feedback and then we do something about it. And so we have an opportunity to hop on and get that going. And I think that across the Navy, we are learning, again, I'm talking about sailors and civilians, we're learning that the value of feedback is something that we value differently than we did in days gone by. So I've been told, as many people, provide us feedback. And it's like, okay, I'm not even going to fill out that survey. But nowadays, shucks, you provide feedback, whether it be via survey or even at the end of a phone call, they say, hey, you can take the survey online. Boom, I do that all the time now, and just watch how changes happen. And I say to everyone else, once those changes are made, you're welcome, and you're welcome, and you're welcome. Because it's important for those of us who have the patience to do it, and for those who don't have the patience, develop it, so that we can make the processes more logical and useful for others after us.
I definitely agree. I think that this is a good step, especially since they're making such a huge change. I'll feel more comfortable if there's someone I can talk to, because I'm not all that tech savvy sometimes. I know I should be, but guys, no.
But and there's just a comfort. I'm with you. There's a comfort in talking to people. And when I call one of those 1-800 numbers or whatever the case may be, and the next thing you know, it's like, press this and press that, and I'm saying, representative. I want to talk to that person.
And some of the trick to just how many zeros can you press at once? You know what I'm saying? Get me there.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I think this system there, again, focused intensity on getting it right. We are we're in the shipbuilding business, and we've got to be. We have been directed to grow and go. And so we have increased the throughput for sailors getting from the street to the fleet. You usually bring in about 30,000 sailors a year. That number has been, they've been directed to bump that number to like 40. But interestingly, the start is just harder. So the requirement to get to boot camp and the level that you have to perform, the PRT, for example, and in your testing is higher than it was in days gone by, which is good. We have more fit and smarter sailors coming. But then we get them in and out of boot camp. They go to A school. That, again, throughput is increased because we've gone to Ready Relevant Learning. And that team of folks get the in place on time training, boom, and they're out to the fleet faster. Well, we need someplace to put them. And so it's not just a matter of filling in the gaps where we perhaps felt that we were undermanned. It's also about manning ships, and manning the organization as a whole. And so we have taken over Sioux City, taken over Wichita. There's other ships that are in the pipeline with regard to getting commissioned and turned over to the Navy, so we can test them out at sea to make sure that they're seaworthy, and then get them into the fight. I want them over here. If we can get the LCSs, more LCSs over here, if we can get more DDGs here, we absolutely need them. In theater, we have 4 right now, stationed over in Rhoda, and whatever infrastructure needs to be upgraded and increased. If we can get that done and get 2 more over here, then I think we're better postured in missile defense. We're better postured in the event there is maritime activity, to put it lightly, I guess, since we're on the air. Then we need to get that going. So if I could just get all of those sailors who were former HTs and electrician mates and boiler technicians, if I can get them into the industry to help us increase the pace with which we are growing and building and developing ships, then let's get there so that we can get the ships at sea and posture ourselves to be stronger.
Well, speaking of DDGs, We have one in particular just going at it right now.
I'm gonna tell you what, but you know, and I think in fairness to all of those folks that are just trucking hard at sea, it's a bunch of them out there. However, you know, every now and then you get called upon to do something special, and if that means that you're making your way into the Black Sea, which is a tough, contested area, then get there and do it with vigilance. It's important that all of us, you know, I said earlier, and I just mean it, every day in every way, if we apply that focused intensity to our rating, because all ratings lead to lethality, all professions lead to lethality, and we have to. It is incumbent upon each and every one of us who know what we do for a living. Well, we need to focus our intensity on that, make sure we're doing it at the highest level, because we may be called upon, like the Carney, to go into the Black Sea. We may be called upon, like the Bulkley, to operate outside of the normal carrier strike. We may be called upon, like the Ross, that was directed to fire missiles, and oh, by the way, directed to go and lend support to the USS, to the French ship, aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. You may be, you know, called upon, like Porter, again, firing missiles, and go stand this watch in this international waters, you know, outside of the contested country. You may be called upon. And so, you know, on my block, there's a rapper who said, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You know, and that's a lifestyle. It's not just some cliche or something hip to say. It's not just with regard, that's like the saying at NAVI or NAVAF when it comes down to PT as well. But if we apply that, like we apply those 10 words, if we apply that, stay ready, you don't have to get ready, just into what we do with regard to our distributed lethality, then it'll just be what we do. You know, are you fit to fight? Yes. Are you ready to fight? Yes.
And part of that readiness and part of that fight is to know your stuff. As always, we preach it every time. So.
All right. Yeah. If someone calls upon me to stand a watch, then I should be ready.